ended up having a hysterectomy at 26. So having kids were out of the question, and that was something that at the time I felt like was, it was a decision that had to be made, and it was the right decision. And I just buried any emotion that went with that, and moved on. And in doing this lecture, discovered that that wasn't something that I had ever really grieved, and needed to grieve. I found that out by reading an article that the woman who had written the article had gone through something very similar, and had also not grieved it, because that's a grief that is, it's a grief of the what was never to be, and that's a different kind of grief, and it's one that I think we as a society don't always recognize. And we as humans don't always recognize, because it seems like, well, that's not really something we need to be grieving. We can just shove that away, and it is. It's still a grief. It's still a loss.
Is spirituality the same as religiosity?
No, they're actually different. Spirituality is a broader, the broader definition of spirituality, which is that it's a very multidimensional concept. It involves yourself, your relationship to yourself, to others, to the world, to a higher being. It can be everybody's spiritual. It can be that you relate your spirituality more towards nature, or to something religious. So religiosity is just a piece of that.
Has spirituality in healthcare always been positive?
Has it always been positive, meaning?
Would you say that every time that patients are involved in spiritual activities, it improves their health and health outcomes?
Not always. I mean, I think people, sometimes the experience will lead them to have some, may lead to some disturbing thoughts or concerns for them that they have to work through. So it's not necessarily immediately positive. I think it can probably lead to some positive things in the future for them. Although, sometimes you can have some spiritual distress with folks that, it's occasionally that they will lose faith over. We've seen that happen too.
What will you tell your colleagues who are doubtful of the importance and uses of spirituality in oncology? What will you tell them? How will you encourage them to be part of this group and, integrate spirituality in their practice?
Well, I think just the sheer fact that everybody is spiritual. We are spiritual beings. We are in a body, but we have a soul. We have a spirit. That makes us spiritual beings. So in order to be holistically caring for patients, we have to consider the spiritual piece of that as well. And there are many ways to do that.
Thank you.